kind of want to introduce her to what we're doing here. So basically, I'm Ilona Pamplona, and I am a self-compassion and clarity coach. And what I do is I help people, find their purpose and, get lit up of love life. But what I created here is called spellings, and I use words and I help people understand the original root etymology of the word so that we can use it in powerful ways in our lives, because I believe that words cast spells on our lives. I was actually just talking to a client yesterday. So I was coaching a client yesterday who we realized that they had a limiting belief because their family member had said something to them so many times that in a way that they were like, it's like they put a spell on me. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. We put like spells on ourselves. People put spells on us based on words, and we get to reprogram ourselves so we can be powerful in our lives. So this week's word is transformation, and transformation comes from Latin. The prefix is trans, which means to go across or beyond, and formare, which is to take form. So when we're transforming, we are literally going across or beyond the form that we are in to have a new way of being. And I love to bring on my guests and say, first of all, how does the spirit of the word land with you? And how does transformation impact the work you do? And I'm going to turn off the light because my mom's driving.
Yes. Well, Ilona, transformation, my business, the official business, my official business name is Lifestyle Transformations 180, because I myself went through a transformation. And I'm going to share a little bit vulnerably, because I talk a lot to my clients and to my group that I have, my private Facebook group, about my transformation. And, starting a lot of it was with veganism, right? Changing my lifestyle as far as my eating. But in actuality, my transformation really started at the end of my 21-year marriage. When, I found myself going, oh my goodness, after 21 years of being married to the person who I thought was the love of my life, who the person I thought I was going to end my days with, I come to find out he had been having an affair for 2 years that I didn't even know about. And, I was so focused on just, my family, my husband, that I didn't leave any room for myself to dream bigger for myself, to create a life in a way that, I was living abundantly. I was living for everybody else, living for, what my husband wanted or needed. And at the end of that marriage, I was like, oh my goodness, I have not been living my life. Like, what now? Here I am, like, devastated that my whole life just completely turned around.
Right.
I felt like the rug was pulled out from underneath me, quite honestly. And I was like, oh, heck no, we are going to make some changes here. And that's where my transformation really started.
Beautiful.
Was, okay, I get to now start thinking bigger for myself, that I am a strong woman and that I have so much, to give, and that I get to create this new life now. And it just started from there, where I was starting to explore new things. I was terrified in going out to places by myself, because I had always had my partner, and like, it's like, okay, I get to do that now. I get to go places. If I don't have a friend to go with, go and explore, meet new friends, right? Get around other like-minded people. And then it just, went from there. And then I, stumbled upon plant-based eating. And then I took on that challenge. I did like a 21-day raw vegan cleanse, and that was something that at the end of that cleanse, I felt fantastic. And it was like, I can't go back. I want to continue living this life, because I felt vibrant. I felt happy. I had energy. I felt better in my health. My allergies and my asthma were much more better. And I was able to get off of these daily medications. And so from that point, then I started feeling great and having more confidence in myself, and then going to meetups and meeting other people. And it was just, from that point on, it was like, wow, wait a minute. All these things just started opening up. And that's really kind of the beginning of my transformation. And I'm still evolving and, going through that transformation today, which is now 7 years later. Like, I would have never thought that if I would have stayed in that marriage, I would not be here talking to you today, because I was such a different person, back then. Obviously inside, I'm still the person that I am, but the evolvement that happened because of that experience that for me was so tragic, that I had never really had anything really tragic in my life in all those 21 years. It was like, My only dream I had for myself was the dream that my mom had for herself, which was to come to this country from Colombia, to get married, have a family, and have the white picket fence, right? And so I adopted that same dream, and that was it. So I got married, I had the home, I had the child, and then it was like, okay, I achieved the dream. But no, there's so much more than that.
Right. So what I'm hearing, so first of all, I want to honor and thank you for sharing so vulnerably about your story, because not a lot of people in this world are open enough to share how they got to their level of transformation. So thank you for that. And then second, as I was hearing you speak, it's almost like there was a little bit of a formula of understanding transformation. And what came up for me is, first you have to come to the awareness that the form that you're in, transformare, the form that you're in, is not a form that fits you. And so when you go across that, you go ahead and you take an action step to begin to practice being outside of that form, that way of being that doesn't serve you. And then the last thing that I really heard that stuck for me was, while you're in that space of, going beyond your typical box that you're used to living in, you get to be supported by a community of like-minded people to help you stick into the action space of the transformation and the new way of being that you were committed to doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. You just described that so beautifully. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it's really about reaching out, getting support, right? Finding other people